Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain an American slasher horror film from 2013 titled Curse of Chucky. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. For years after the events of the previous film, Chucky mysteriously arrives in the mail at the family home of paraplegic Nica and her mother, Sarah. Unaware of the sender, Sarah discards Chucky in the garbage. Later that night, Nica hears Sarah screaming in pain and finds her dead from a self-inflicted stab wound as Chucky watches from a nearby. The following day, as Nica mourns her mother's gruesome suicide, her assertive older sister Barb arrives in town with her family, husband Ian, daughter Alice, and live-in nanny Jill, aiming to handle their mother's affairs. Father Frank, a priest offering counsel, is also present. Jill and Ian take Alice to the bathroom, where she notices the curtain shaking. Upon opening it, she finds Chucky and an unexpected friendship begins to form between them. That evening, Nica volunteered to cook dinner and Alice agreed to help, bringing Chucky along. While preparing dinner, they chatted about their favorite foods and speculated on how the dinner would taste. After Nica and Alice cooked chili, they left the kitchen to set the dinner table. During their absence, Chucky maliciously poured rat poison into one of the bowls. Upon Nica's return to the kitchen, she found Chucky on the floor, raising suspicions, but she dismissed them. As night fell, Father Frank and the family gathered to eat. While complimenting Nica on the delicious food, Alice complained about an odd taste. However, Barb asked her to eat and stop complaining. Father Frank, after consuming the chili, began feeling strange and abruptly left amid a thunderstorm, leaving everyone puzzled. Later, emergency personnel responded to a car accident, discovering Father Frank disoriented from the rat poison, with the car roof pinning his throat. Firefighters, in their rescue efforts, unintentionally severed his head. Back at the house, Nica, Barb, Jill and a half-asleep Ian watched old home movies. Nica noticed a familiar face, Charles Lee, Chucky, Ray, in one of the films. Alice then came downstairs, informing everyone that Chucky had disappeared. Barb told Nica to go to bed and asked Jill to assist Alice in finding Chucky. Meanwhile, Nica discovered the return address on the package Chucky arrived in. Attempting to call the number, she faced intermittent blackouts due to the storm disrupting cell phone signals. Jill, after putting Alice to bed, began searching for Chucky. However, in the kitchen, Barb entered and passionately kissed Jill, revealing an affair. Nica returned to the living room, finding Chucky next to a sleeping Ian. Using the house elevator to take Chucky to Alice, a blackout occurred, and Chucky comes alive and cut Nica's leg with a knife. As power returned, the elevator ascended to the second floor, where Alice took Chucky to bed. After everyone retired to their rooms, Nica went downstairs, researching Chucky doll evidence online. Reading stories of his murders, she realized Chucky was alive. Jill entered Alice's room, video chatting with Barb in another bedroom next to Ian, wearing only her underwear. While video chatting, Barb tries to warn Jill about Alice being awake, unaware that is actually Chucky. When Jill looks down, she sees Chucky holding a knife. Chucky then kicks over a bucket of rainwater, which touches Jill's feet and a power outlet, electrocuting her to death and causing another blackout. Concerned, Barb decides to check on Alice. However, Ian, now awake, questions Barb's true motives, revealing he knows about the affair through a nanny cam on Chucky. An argument ensues and Barb leaves the room after Ian tunes her out with earplugs. Barb discovers Chucky on the stairs to the attic, assuming Alice is there. Picking up Chucky, she heads to the attic. Along the way, she encounters Nica and they engage in a heated argument. Barb expresses sympathy for Nica's situation, insisting she's not responsible. However, Nica is more concerned about the doll and urges Barb to drop Chucky, but Barb refuses and went with the doll. Nica attempts to follow them using the elevator, but due to the blackout, she crawls up the stairs to the second floor. Despite his small size and structure, Chucky has the strength and speed of a full-grown human adult. He is able to easily restrain and kill people over 3 times his size with little to no difficulty. In the attic, Barb notices a knife in Chucky's overalls. She sets Chucky down on a trunk and continues searching for Alice. Startled by a rat, Barb turns around and finds Chucky on a shelf. Noticing parts of Chucky's face peeling, she peels off the plastic coating, revealing stitches and scars from the previous film. As Chucky comes to life, Barb falls backward, and in a shocking turn of events, Chucky gouges out one of Barb's eyes with his knife. Nica manages to reach the attic stairs just as Chucky tosses Barb's eyeball down. Barb falls down the stairs, lifeless, and Chucky descends towards Nica. Swiftly, Nica grabs a wheelchair from the hallway closet and rolls away, with Chucky in relentless pursuit. Arriving at Alice's room, Nica discovers she's gone. Panicked, Nica reaches Ian, alerting him to the dire situation. A skeptical Ian wheels Nica to the garage but decides to return to the house to search for Alice. Inside, he finds the lifeless bodies of Jill and Barb. However, Chucky perverted everything he was taught and his bloodlust couldn't be contained. He's also not exactly a one-woman kind of guy, and it was a recipe for disaster. When Tiffany got jealous that he was killing Solo, Chucky went off and found a woman named Sarah and became obsessed with her and her daughter. Meanwhile, Chucky locks himself in a car in the garage, starts it and attempts to kill Nica with carbon monoxide poisoning. Reacting swiftly, Nica locates a hatchet, smashing a car window to confront Chucky. Returning to the garage, Ian witnesses Nica with the hatchet and, now suspicious, disarms her, suspecting her involvement in the murders. The stress overwhelms Nica, leading to a heart attack and loss of consciousness. Upon waking, she finds herself tied to her wheelchair. Ian, reviewing nanny cam footage, discovers Chucky's innocence in the murders and the hidden truth about Alice's whereabouts and the affair between Barb and Jill. Chucky enters, using Nica's wheelchair to run over Ian and then brutally ending him by chopping off his lower jaw with the hatchet. Chucky turns his attention to Nica, lodging the hatchet into her knee. Despite being restrained, Nica breaks free, knocking out Chucky. Seizing the moment, she uses the hatchet to decapitate Chucky. Nica turns her back to tend to her wounds, unaware that Chucky has gotten up and he reattaches his head. Chucky, back on his feet, grabs Nica's wheelchair and pushes her down the hall, through the balcony, and she falls to the ground floor. As Chucky taunts her, Nica, bewildered, asks why he's doing this, and through flashbacks, Chucky reveals he was a family friend in love with Sarah, who was married to another man and pregnant with Nica. Chucky's dark past unfolds as he reveals his role in Sarah's husband's murder and the subsequent kidnapping that led to his demise as a human. The stabbing during Sarah's rejection resulted in Nica being born a paraplegic. The kidnapping led to Chucky's death as a human, initiating the franchise's grim events. With a brief return of electricity, Nica manages to reach the elevator just before the lights go out again. Seizing the opportunity, Chucky cuts Nica's fingers, dropping the knife into the elevator. Undeterred, Nica holds the bloody weapon, challenging Chucky to attack. He lunges at her and is stabbed in the back. As Nica attempts to leave the elevator, Chucky seemingly springs back to life. Meanwhile, a police officer arrives, drawn by Nica's scream. Entering the house, he finds Nica in the elevator holding the knife, while Barb's lifeless body is upstairs and Chucky watches ominously from a nearby chair. Later on, Nica is convicted of the murders and committed to an asylum. As she is being escorted out of court, she provocatively informs Chucky, a crucial piece of evidence, that she is still alive. The arresting officer seizes Chucky, intending to deliver it to an undisclosed individual, and instructs the person on the other end of the phone to have the payment ready. As the officer notices the plastic bag containing Chucky moving due to his breathing, Tiffany suddenly appears in the backseat and cuts his throat. Tiffany then sends Chucky to its next intended victim via mail. Alice, now leaving with grandmother, returns home from school, expecting to find her but encounters Chucky instead. When she inquires about her grandmother's whereabouts, Chucky replied in the cellar. Chucky convinces Alice to engage in a disturbing game called Hide the Soul. As the camera shifts away, Chucky recites a chant to transfer his soul into Alice's body. Before the screen cuts to black, Alice's screaming grandmother pops up on the screen with a plastic bag over her head. After the credits, Chucky is delivered to the now grown-up Andy Barkley. As Andy takes a call from his mother with his back turned, Chucky skillfully cuts his way out of the package. Glancing at an old photo of Andy and his mother from his childhood, Chucky then focuses on Andy. Andy, prepared, points a shotgun at Chucky's head. Surprising Chucky, Andy quips, "Play with this," and pulls the trigger. Okay guys, that's all the recap about Curse of Chucky from 2013. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.